All right, Mayor Dunleavy has called the meeting to order. Roll call, Councilwoman Rami Rice. Councilman Began. Here. Just out of curiosity, Deputy Mayor Schwartz, did you hear Councilman Began just now?
I did, yes.
All right, cool. Is that Councilwoman Organ? Councilman Kaplan,
I'm here.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Katz, Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by resolution number 265-2021, setting a copy to the newspaper's official designated for 2022 by way of resolution number 4-2022, filing a copy in the Township Clerk's office and posting it on the municipal building bulletin board, and the mayor hereby directs that this statement be included in the minutes. The first resolution that we are considering this evening, resolution number 165-2022, authorizing council to enter into closed session. Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck, pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, the Township Council meet in closed session to discuss the following subject matters: advisory board interviews, Bell Avenue drainage, COVID update, energy aggregation, EMS, recodification, DPW project, legal issues and or opinions regarding any items on the open session agenda, litigation updates, Oprah, subsection 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and B. They further resolve that as precise as can be determined this time, closed session minutes can be disclosed as long as they do not violate the attorney-client privilege. Hello, Councilwoman Rami Rice. Do we have a first on that resolution? Second. All in
And
favor?
second.
Nice. See you upstairs. Okay, good evening.
Clerk, call roll, please.
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Councilwoman Rami Rice.
Here.
Councilman Began. Here. Councilman Organ.
Here.
Councilman Kaplan. Here. Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
here.
Deputy Mayor Katz. Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by resolution number 265-2021, setting a copy to the newspaper's official designated for 2022 by way of resolution number 4-2022, filing a copy in the Township Clerk's office and posting it on the municipal building bulletin board, and the mayor hereby directs that this statement be included in the minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Tonight, Teaneck Township Administration. You got to go for that? Okay. Teaneck Administration present here at tonight's meeting are Dean Kinzinski, our Township Manager, Doug Roussillon, our Township Clerk, Kristen Denorcha, Deputy Township Clerk, Ron Goodman, our volunteer cablecaster, Clarence Barnes, the Building Maintenance Extraordinaire, and John Shadanian from the law firm of Trank, Isabel, Siddiqui, and Shadanian. Upcoming events. For the public's information, we are currently holding a hybrid meeting format. We have people in person and on Zoom. If our Wi-Fi at the municipal building has an issue where the Zoom meeting drops, we will aim to retrieve the connection at the start of the meeting as soon as possible. If we are unable to continue the Zoom meeting, this council meeting will have to be adjourned and rescheduled as per law. The next televised council meeting will take place on Tuesday, June 28th, 2022 at 7 p.m. The public portion will begin at 8 p.m. Council met in closed session to discuss the following: advisory board interviews, Bell Avenue drainage project, COVID update, energy aggregation, EMS, recodification, DPW project, legal issues and or opinions regarding any items on the open session agenda, litigation updates, and Oprah. All right, we're going to move on now to presentations. And I think the first one we have down there.
So our first presentation this evening
is to retired Fire Chief Jordan Zaretsky, and just a little something about Jordan before we have the mayor present the proclamation to him. A little bittersweet for me. Jordan and I have certainly developed a great professional, personal relationship. He made my job a lot easier. And I tell the department heads, especially the new ones, when you take over and when you retire, try to leave the organization in a better place than how you received it. And certainly Jordan has done that. I'm very proud of him. I'm excited about his new career. He's going to have an opportunity, I think, to do some things that he's very passionate about. And here's someone that has really dedicated his life to municipal service, to the residents of Teaneck. He's done it proudly. He's done it sincerely, and he's really made an impact on the fire department. And I know Fire Chief Birchall, that has some big shoes to fill. But what we want to do, Jordan, is read a proclamation that covers a few of your accomplishments and appreciation, not only from me, but from the council on what you've done for the township.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Thank you, Dean. Whereas Jordan Zaretsky retired as fire chief of the township of Teaneck on June 1st, 2022, after a successful career in municipal service, and whereas in 1987, Mr. Zaretsky joined the Teaneck Volunteer Ambulance Corps, serving for a term of 5 years from 1987 through 1993. And in December 1994, joined the Teaneck Fire Department as a firefighter and began to climb the ranks within the township. And whereas on October 1st, 2005, Jordan was promoted to lieutenant. On April 8th, 2011, Jordan was promoted to captain. On October 8th, 2013, Jordan was promoted to battalion chief. On July 10th, 2017, Jordan was promoted to deputy fire chief. And on October 4th, 2018, Jordan was promoted to fire chief and served in this position until retiring on June 1st, 2022. And whereas for 28 years, Jordan has served the citizens of the township of Teaneck well with meritorious letters of accomplishments and being a nationally registered EMT for many years. And whereas Jordan was instrumental in initiating a shared service agreement with the city of Hackensack for joint fire dispatching and automatic aid, the creation of squads, and the securing of numerous grants. And whereas upon his retirement, he will be missed by his colleagues and employees, but can now enjoy the things in life which he so richly deserves and desires, including being an accomplished jet pilot. Wow, pretty cool. I have to go to San Diego in July. Now, therefore, I, James Dunleavy, Mayor of Teaneck, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby extend our congratulations to Jordan Zaretsky for his dedication and service to the community on this 14th day of June in the year of our Lord 2022. I have hereto underset my hand and caused the official seal of the Township of Teaneck to be affixed on this 14th day of June in the year of our Lord 2022. And this is signed by the entire council.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 4.5 years ago, Dean and then Manager William Broughton came to me and said, "You're up to be the fire chief." And I thought, I'm not sure I want this job. And I was happy. I was a battalion, then a deputy, and it was life was good. And then I got into the job and I saw how chaotic it can be sometimes. And he asked me how it's going. I was about 1.5 years in. And he said, "How's it going?" I said, "Dean, I'm not sure I want this job." And then COVID happened at some point. And I mean, this place was chaos for a while. And at that point, I was pretty damn sure I didn't want this job. And I told him, and during that point, I said, "Listen, I do one of these. Like, if this happens again, I'm definitely out." And I kind of knew the end was, this was probably the year. And I found an opportunity for myself to do something that I am passionate about and to give me a next opportunity for here. And there's a lot of feelings that go into that because I'm proud of the work that I've been able to accomplish in this fire department. But the truth is that any of the things that I was able to do, I was not able to do by myself. We had an outstanding group of people working with me. And that outstanding group of people will continue and succeed me now and will provide Teaneck with the greatest fire department in the state of New Jersey. No offense, Tom. So I appreciate it. I appreciate this. I appreciate the recognition. So let's get the party started. Yeah.
Okay, next on the agenda, we're going to swear in new. Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
Sorry, it's gonna be real sweet and short. I just can't thank enough for Jordan for all the years of support, guidance, mentoring as he moved up through the ladder. Some of the things you may also not know is in 2010, he actually flew relief efforts down into Haiti to get supplies to those people that were injured and in need of those supplies. Again, he's been by my side the whole time, guiding me, mentoring me. He's allowed me to be able to step into this next role. I can't thank him enough for that. Some of the things like the managers mentioned, the squads now will let us have reduced our extrication time on scene by 75%, whereas the old way was a lot slower. So the residents of Teaneck are a lot better served, a lot better protected because of Jordan's efforts. So I'd like to thank him for that.
Okay, next, we're going to do the swearing in of Fire Chief Joseph Berchtold, and let me grab my folder. Let's see who's here tonight, Chief. And Fire Chief, you're going to be the 13th in Teaneck's history, my understanding?
That's a lucky number.
Yes, make it a lucky number. And family in attendance, come on up, don't be shy, turn around to the audience, to the camera. We have his wife, Nicole. Nice to see you, Nicole. We have children, Haley and Jamie and JP. JP's the little guy, right?
Yes.
Okay. We have parents, Joe and Marilyn Berchtold. Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. We have father-in-law, Phil Majorana, and other members and family and friends that are here tonight to congratulate Fire Chief Berchtold. Just a little bit about the Fire Chief. He was hired in 1990. So Joe has 32 years of service with the town. Positions held, he was originally hired in 1990, made lieutenant in 2001, made captain in 2004, battalion chief in 2010, deputy chief in 2018, and fire chief effective June 1st of this year. Has many notable achievements, including an FMBA Life Saving Unit Citation Award, FMBA Valor Award in 2009, Teaneck Chamber of Commerce Award for his service to the community. He's an instructor at the Bergen County Law and Public Safety Institute, a fire instructor and author for major fire service publications. He's an international fire instructor and a volunteer deputy fire coordinator for Bergen County OEM. So a very accomplished career. I'm very excited to work with Joe. I look forward to great things, and I'm going to do my best to continue Jordan's accomplishments and making the fire department a great place to work and provide excellent services to the community. And of course, Chief, I want you, when you do retire, to make sure you're leaving the fire department in a little better place. So that being said, Doug, I need the Bible. Okay, who would you like to hold?
They're both going to hold it.
Excellent. Okay, come on up. And I want you to face the camera where Mr. Goodman is standing. And you're going to place your right hand on the Bible, Chief, and repeat after me. Raise your right hand, left hand on the Bible, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joseph Berchtold,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments
in the
established
United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of Fire Chief
Office of the Fire Chief.
in the Teaneck Fire Department
Teaneck Fire Department,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Chief.
So I asked the manager if I could say a few words, and the council knows, he didn't say the 3-minute rule applies, so I wrote a very lengthy speech. Doug, I will not be emailing this to you. So good evening, residents, council. I'm your new Fire Chief, Joseph Bertzold. I want to thank the council and the manager for trusting me and affording me the opportunity to lead the Teaneck Fire Department. It is truly an honor for me. I want to thank all my brother and sister firefighters for their support over the years. We have a great fire department. We have so many talented personnel that keep the department running every day. You exemplify the finest of the fire service has to offer. I pledge my dedication to uphold and elevate the impeccable standards and expectations of the Township of Teaneck Fire Department and this great nation. I challenge you to do the same and stand side by side and march into the future of the fire service. I want to thank my parents, former residents, and Teaneck High School alumni for always being supportive and encouraging. I want to thank my wife for all her support over the years and for being understanding of the fire service and its fulfillment roles in the community. You are my rock. To my 3 beautiful and amazing children, Haley, Jamie, and JP, you show me every day what it means to be a dad. You are my hero. To the rest of my family, thank you for always being there and sticking by me. I want to thank all my friends. You have been a great support system in getting me to the place I am in my career. I want to thank my former chiefs and officers who have inspired me to push me to always do my best, try my hardest, and strive for the best. There is one deputy chief that does stand out, William Pegues. As a new firefighter, he always calls me chief. And he told me never stop studying and always do my best. He believed in me. He knew I could and can do great things as a firefighter. To quote Edward F. Croker, former chief, Fire Department, New York, 1911, I have one ambition in this world, but one, and that is to be a fireman. The position may, in the eyes of some, appear to be a lonely one, but those who know the work which a fireman has to do believe this is a notable calling. Our proudest moment is to save lives. Under the impulse of such thoughts, the nobility of the occupation thrills and stimulates us to deeds of daring, even of supreme sacrifice. I promise, I'm getting to the end. My 3 minutes up yet? As a junior firefighter in high school, I never knew that one day I would be the chief of the career fire department. Yet here I am standing before you, and as that, I pledge as chief to protect and serve the Township of Teaneck. Colleagues, chiefs, friends, guests, I want to thank you all for coming tonight and supporting. Together we will work hard and keep the community safe. And as always, make sure you have working smoke detectors and carbon monoxide.
Thank you, Chief. I will ask you to say a few words.
I'd like to ask the council if they have any comments. We'll start over on this side. Councilmember Javon Rice.
I always have to take the opportunity when we're acknowledging firemen because they're so near and dear to my heart. My father being a fireman here in Teaneck in the late 60s, early 70s. I know what it means to the families. I know what the sacrifice is. So while we're saying goodbye and farewell and best wishes to one chief here, we're welcoming another. We thank you for your service. And I love the fact that you have longevity into this township. Your parents, graduates of Teaneck High School. And that means a lot because that means you have deep roots and to your service.
Thank you, Mayor.
first to Chief Zaretsky. As you know, I work for a firefighter, and we argue a lot, he and I, about who has the better fire department. And I like to think that I win those debates because of guys like you and everyone else in our fire department. So thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you have done for Teaneck over the years, and best of luck to you in all your future endeavors. And as for our new chief, congratulations, sir, and thank you for stepping up. And please don't be shy. If there's ever anything we can do for you, the fire department, we're here for you. Thank you, sir.
I won't be as nice. I'm gonna admit, when I first heard you retiring, I was upset because we were just getting some great, the modernization carrying forth to the fiber optics going down to Hackensack, to going to the squads. We were really just really modernizing this to be a superior, the top department in the county. And then you left. But at the same time, we have some with more seniority than you, 32 years. So obviously, Chief Burchell's been here a long time, and it always has that binder with him. At least every time I see him, there's that binder. So I don't know what's in there, but hopefully it's the same secret sauce that that could keep us going in the right direction. We're putting up new buildings all over town, and the leadership is there, and the leadership will hopefully continue to be there. And I know tonight we're bringing up a bunch of new leaders, so I look forward to serving along with them with the town and keeping us all safe. Thank you.
Councilmember Organ.
So I'm feeling very old because I was part of your bio back in the day at TVAC. We rode together. And at that time, you could have done anything. You had interests then like you have interests now, passions for so many different things. But firefighting is a calling, and we all benefit for that and the fact that you chose that for Teaneck. And as chief, your insight and your foresight really brought us to a new place. I wish you well. I wish you lots of airtime and yoga and whatever you're into these days. And the same passion in whatever you go forward to now than what you had with firefighting. To our new chief, I wish you the best of luck. Please know that you have a council and a township behind you that only want you to succeed and are here to help you with anything that you need. I've been there. And to the entire fire department, you are the people who come to our homes when we call you and we need you. And nobody is ever sorry to see you when you show up. You let us breathe a sigh of relief. So thank you for all that you do and for always being there for us. Thank you.
Councilmember Kaplan.
So I want to say to outgoing Chief Zaretsky, having you at the helm has always been a great comfort to a lot of people who you meet on what is, not exactly their best day. And there have been, as Deputy Mayor Schwartz mentioned, a lot of changes that have been spearheaded over time. And it has been, terrific to have someone that not only works well with the administration, but comes up with solutions and has been a very positive force for everyone working in your department to see. To our incoming chief, on behalf of all the residents, I really want to say, how proud we are of you and everyone else that's working under you. It makes me happy to know that we have individuals in our departments that spend their time to study, to improve, and they not only benefit themselves, but their entire departments as well. And, as everyone knows, when you get a promotion like this, it comes with an increase in salary. But the reason is the increase in responsibility and how much more is expected from a standpoint of leadership, from a standpoint of example. And, as the previous person in your spot, you have great shoes to fill, and I'm looking very much forward to what we see coming from the fire department in our future. So thank you very much and best of luck.
And I'll just end with this, that any leader who's worth his weight in gold, and Jordan certainly has been, is an individual who makes everybody around him better. It's like the Michael Jordan theory, where he needed to have that whole team working. And because of how he handled them and how he did his work, he made everybody around him better. And I think Jordan is a great example of that and what he's done for our department and how he has kept us safe for many, many years. So, Jordan, thank you on behalf of my family and everybody's family. And our new chief, congratulations. You have big shoes to fill, I know, but I'm sure you're going to be up to it. You have our full support, whatever you need, okay? All right, take care.
Yeah, I'm just personally so proud of our emergency services, the fire department, the police department, our volunteer ambulance corps, day in and day out. They provide such a tremendous service to our town. It's done professionally, it's done sincerely, carefully, and we truly have a bunch of professionals in town, and I'm very proud of that. I would be remiss if I did not recognize Chief Freeman, who is standing quietly in the back corner. He is the fire chief of Hackensack, and again, such a great partner to the municipality, the Hackensack Fire Department. They're there when we need them, and of course, we are there when Hackensack needs us. So I'm excited to work with Hackensack on the fire dispatching, on the automatic aid project. And Chief, I thank you so much for your cooperation and getting this forward as well. You were instrumental in the LEAP grant as well, so thank you for that. I also want to, before I forget this, I say this all the time, I want to thank the families. Being a former law enforcement officer, there's a lot of sacrifices made. It's done by police, it's done by fire, and the families kind of suffer with your loved one not being there on the holidays, the birthdays, the special occasions. So, I think the family members here deserve a round of applause, and I thank you for your service as well. So thank you. So moving forward, we're going to bring up Deputy Chief Joseph Zabierski. He'll be the first one, and his mom is very near and dear to my heart. I worked with her for many years. So come on up. Don't be shy, Helen. Kids coming up, Joe. I want the family up. And where's Chief Birchdold? Okay. Come on. Yep. All right, well, yeah. You want to recognize who's here?
Okay, at this point, we'd like to promote Chief Zabierski from Battalion Chief to Deputy Chief. Tonight with him is his mother, Helen, his wife, Tracy, and daughters, Hannah and Holly. He was hired in 1994. He served 27 and a half years. He was promoted in lieutenant in 2005, captain in 2010, battalion chief 2017. He's in EMT since 2002. He participated in the Ground Zero 9/11. He is an executive delegate for the FMBA officers. He's oversaw the hose and ladder testing within our department, which is instrumental. That's another burden that one of the other chiefs would not have to take care of. That's definitely an awesome accomplishment. He's also a hometown hero, and he has numerous Valor Awards.
So we're promoting a very accomplished fire officer. I'm excited to work with Joe. And just quickly, again, those that are not familiar with the civil service process, to get promoted is not an easy task. It generally involves a sacrifice, at least a 6-month sacrifice to study for the examination. Hope that you score well. Hope that there's a retirement. Timing has a lot to do with this, as anyone that's been promoted knows. So again, it's a lot of stress and there's a lot of sacrifice, but the sacrifice is paid dividends moving forward. And as one of the council members said, of course, there's a pay increase, but that level of responsibility is far more greater. And just a reminder to everyone, what you do, your actions, you represent me, you represent council, you represent the people of Teaneck. So always keep that in mind. So without further ado, we're going to swear in Deputy Chief Zabierski. And who is going to hold the Bible, Joe? Okay. Left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joseph Zabierski,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
support the Constitution of the United
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of Deputy Chief in the Teaneck Fire Department according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations, Joe. Okay, Chief, next up, we're going to promote Chris Robbins, Captain Chris Robbins to Battalion Chief. Come on up, Chris. Yes, sure can.
At this time, we're going to promote Chris Robbins from Captain to Battalion Chief. In present is his father and mother. Chris was hired in 2001. He serves 21 years on the department. He's promoted to lieutenant in 2012, captain in 2020. He is a certified EMT. He's also a New Jersey State Level 2 instructor. He holds a degree in applied sciences. He's been doing training for both fire engineering, Firehouse Magazine, and various other agencies all around the world and the country. He is also a volunteer fire chief or former volunteer fire chief, so I know he'll bring the experience, knowledge, and background to that level.
All right, thank you, Chief. It's good seeing these officers in uniform. I see a lot of them in shorts at the firehouse, so it's nice seeing that change with the uniform. All right. The Bible. Go.
He apologizes. He would be in his Class A's. He's actually currently working and attending an EMT class.
Got it. Okay. Chris, who would you like to hold the Bible? Mom, come on up. Just face the camera. And we want your left hand on the Bible, Chris, and raise your right hand and repeat after. Come on over here. Hang on. Come by me. I don't bite. Over here. Over here. There you go. Hold that.
Okay,
Raise your right hand, Chris.
raise your right hand.
I state your name.
I, Chris Robbins,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
and the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
and that I will faithfully,
Faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of Battalion Chief
the duties of the office of battalion
in the Teaneck Fire Department
in the Teaneck Fire
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my
so
ability.
help me God.
So help me.
All right, congratulations, Chris. Okay, next, we are going to promote Fire Lieutenant Paul O'Connor to Fire Captain.
Okay, at this time, we're promoting Lieutenant Paul O'Connor to captain. With him is his wife Janice and his daughter Genevieve. Paul was hired in 2001. He was promoted to lieutenant 2016. He heads our Pro Phoenix team, which for anybody that knows the council, that's allowed us to modernize our fire department. We used to use a typewriter, pen, and paper. We are now completely digital, thanks to Paul. He not only does our records management program end of it, but also our computer-aided dispatch, which is also going to allow us to easily transition to Hackensack. He is also a fire investigator and part of the Good Morning Wake Up program.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. And Paul is my neighbor in Ringwood, and every once in a while I will see him at Goldberg's Bagel Shop. Yes, best bagels and really best bagels all around. Okay, who wants to hold the Bible? All right, so let's face the camera. Left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, repeat after me, Paul. I state your name.
I, Paul O'Connor,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of
and the
United States,
Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the
and
same
to the governments established
and to the governments
in
established
the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of captain
all the duties of the office of captain
in the Teaneck Fire Department
in Teaneck Fire
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my
So help me
ability.
God.
So help me
All
God.
right, congratulations.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, next, we're going to promote Brendan Stubinsky from firefighter to lieutenant. Come on up.
In attendance with Brendan tonight, we're promoting Brendan from firefighter to lieutenant, is his wife Sarah, his mother and father, his brother and sister. Brendan was hired in 2011. He's a member of the training committee, the SCBA specialist, and the FMBA treasurer. He holds a bachelor's degree in science, fire science. He is aircraft fire rescue trained and has numerous years of experience with that. He's an EMT as well. He did it, one of the first interns. Teaneck for the longest time never had interns. We were able to start an intern program years ago, and this is the excellent result of that program, what it is generated for us, the Teaneck Fire Department. He's also a fifth generator firefighter. He's also currently the Ramsey Volunteer Fire Chief, so he brings with him lots of volunteer experience, knowledge, and training.
Thank you, Chief. This is the good part of my job. The next 3 hours of the meeting, you know, can give or take. So, all right, let's see, who's going to hold the Bible? Okay, there you go. Okay, raise your right hand, left hand on the Bible. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brendan Stubinsky,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the
and
same
allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
to the governments
in the
established
United States
in the United
and
States
in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of lieutenant
all the duties of the office of lieutenant
in the Teaneck Fire Department
in the Teaneck Fire Department,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. And next, we're going to bring up Fire Lieutenant Jason Wyman, a good friend of mine. And Jason was promoted back in April, but we're just getting around to doing the public swearing in ceremony. So I know he's been waiting patiently for that. Come on up. Good.
So tonight we're promoting Jason Wyman from firefighter to lieutenant. He's currently already a lieutenant. He was hired in 2002. He's held numerous positions in the FMBA. Thank you for your service. He was deployed to the war in Iraq in 2005. We really have to acknowledge that. He has also been numerous other positions within the union and with the fire department. Thank you.
And I just want to, just a quick comment. Jason and I work very closely with union business, and I have to say, the guy is a gentleman. Always very sincere with his job and duties as a union representative. Makes my job a lot easier, whether it's through some issues at the fire department that we're able to resolve rather than going through a grievance process, an arbitration process. Not that I like to hear from Jason all the time. Usually when I do, it's because of a problem, but we get the problem resolved, and it's done in a fair manner. And he allows me that opportunity as the manager to resolve these types of issues that may come up at the fire department. So I thank you for that. All right. So who's going to hold the Bible? You do it? Got it? Come on up, guys. Face that camera right there. Bible, raise your right hand. All right? Good. Okay. I state your name.
I, Jason Wyman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
and that I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments
in the
established
United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
and that I will faithfully,
I will faithfully
impartially,
and partially
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of lieutenant
all the duties of the office of lieutenant
in the Teaneck Fire Department
in the Teaneck Fire Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Jason. Okay, so again, we're promoting some very accomplished, mature firefighters to the various ranks. Again, I'd like to thank the families for their sacrifice as well. All I can say is Teaneck is in good hands, Mayor. I have the utmost confidence in everyone here that was promoted and looking forward to working with everyone.
Thank you.
I can read the proclamation. Oh, where's everyone going? You guys don't want to stick around? You don't want to read the bill list together or anything? We got all kinds of ordinances and resolutions we're going to be talking about. I tried to keep. Yeah. I guess I'll just hang out here along the way. I tried with the glasses. You were all there.
Okay, we'll wait a minute until crowd leaves, and then we'll move forward with the next presentations. I still want them to close the doors. It's gonna get too hot. Okay, let's move on with the agenda. The next item. Okay. The next presentation is Police Chief for a Day, and I will read the proclamation. Whereas on June 24th, 2022, the Teaneck Township Police Department will participate in Bergen County's Chief for a Day initiative. And whereas the members of the Teaneck Township Police Department play an integral role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Teaneck. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties and responsibilities of law enforcement in their community. And whereas as an honorary chief for a day, Elizabeth Yevu will learn about the inner workings of law enforcement in their community. And whereas it is fitting and proper that the Township of Teaneck, along with our community, observed June 24th, 2022 as Elizabeth Yevu Day to honor their interest in law enforcement. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Township of Teaneck, on behalf of its citizens, do hereby proclaim June 24th, 2022 as Chief Elizabeth Yevu Day. Okay. No,
She's on a call. I think
she's on a call
She's on
already.
a call.
Yeah, she's on a call already. Next item, graduating Youth Advisory Board member Rolando Ortega.
Yes, give me a second. I want to.
It's a long
Okay.
journey from back there to over there.
Great to see you. So we're privileged here in Teaneck, as one of our form of advisory boards is to have the Youth Advisory Board. And I'd like to present this certification for Rolando Ortega. For his role on the Youth Advisory Board, the township wishes you the best of luck on your future endeavors, and we are behind you. We want to dedicate this opportunity and time to you for your dedication to YAB. He is graduating. Rolando is a student at the Bergen Academies, and he is leaving us to head up to Tufts University in the fall. So we are really excited to be able to honor him for his dedication and his work. And tell us again what your major is?
Political science.
Political science. So I'm excited. But we have youth from Teaneck who hopefully can change the world, and he'll come back to Teaneck, maybe make some changes right here in his hometown. But I know that we have some of our Youth Advisory Board members. I don't know if Karan G is with us in person or online, but I know that he wanted to make a comment. Yes. So I know that the advisors to the Youth Advisory Board also wanted to commend them. I also want to note that Rolando acted in the capacity of an intern with me. We spent a lot of time and energy on working on the youth perspective, on their perspective of Teaneck and how they can make it better. And he had a lot to contribute, and I'm so ever grateful for that. And I believe I saw, was it your dad that's here with you tonight? So we thank you and give kudos to Dad. Because I'm sure you had a lot to do with this raising of this fine young man. Oh, good. You're a smart man too, to not leave out his mom. Wait, so Karan G.
Good evening, Town Council and public at large. My name is Karan G, and I serve as one of the adult advisors for the Town Council's Youth Advisory Board. Just wanted to take a minute or so to say a few words about Rolando Ortega. So Rolando joined us about a year ago, and he really hopped right in and went to work. I was very, very impressed by his overall professionalism and strong work ethic. So much so that he was elected as our vice chair within his very first year. He really was an amazing addition to the team. I have to thank Councilwoman Romney Rice because she was the one who recommended Rolando, and he absolutely exceeded all of our expectations. So Rolando, on behalf of the Youth Advisory Board, we really want to thank you for your service and wish you the best of luck in college and all of your future endeavors. In the words of Benjamin Franklin, always remember, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. So with that said, hopefully you come back and see us from time to time, and don't forget about the little people. You always have a home with the Youth Advisory Board. I have one other quick achievement to briefly mention. Our chairwoman, Kasai Sanchez, also, she recently received the 5-Star Student Award from the county, which to me, I think deserves some recognition tonight as well. I'm really proud of all of our students because they are doing some phenomenal work in the classroom as well as in the community. So again, thank you both for all your hard work and dedication to YAB. And thank you, council, for allowing me the time to recognize our students tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Speech.
Okay. Next up for presentations, we have the 2021 and 2022 Matthew Feldman Award recipients.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we're going to present the 2021 Youth Matthew Feldman Award, and that award goes to the TVAC, Teaneck Volunteer Ambulance Corps. Then y'all can come up if you're here. Yeah, come on. So in addition to responding to emergency calls, the TVAC youth volunteers have been stationed at different community events organized by faith, ethnic, and other nonprofit organizations. We thank the TVAC for their hard work in our community. Here's a.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to read Latin here. I haven't had to read Latin since the 7th grade. Senate and General Assembly citation, commendations and praise extended to TVAC youth for bringing honor and pride to their community as the recipient of the 2021 Matthew Feldman Award, in whose efforts have brought pride and distinction to their community and state, and have earned their recognition by the citizenry of the 37th New Jersey Legislative District through their elected representatives, Senator Gordon Johnson, Assembly members Shama Hader and Ellen Park.
And on behalf of the town council, we extend heartfelt congratulations to the TVAC youth for receiving the 2021 Matthew Feldman Youth Award. Thank you. And one other comment I'd like to make is I love the fact that when Teaneck is fully represented by the composition of our community in diversity, you guys clearly represent that. And I thank you for that. And I thank you that you will continue to recruit other fine youth as yourself, because I know that you guys do a lot of great work, and please continue to recruit others, because I know that you are not only do you get a good foundation, whether it's medical or interest, but you really get a great foundation in community service. So we really appreciate your dedication to the community. Thank you.
Good evening, folks, and good evening, TVAC youth. My name is Yassin Al-Karyani, and I happen to chair the Advisory Board on Community Relations. And I just have to tell you that I always respect people who are capable of doing stuff that I'm not capable of doing. If I hit the rewind button on my life about 10, 11 years ago, I wanted to be an EMT, but when I saw what it entails, I said, you know what, I can't do it. So in addition to saving lives, I would like to thank you for doing something that I'm not able to do. And with that, I'm sure you've earned my personal respect and you've earned the respect of the Teaneck community. Thank you so much for what you're doing for us.
Thank you. You guys can take this.
One last round of applause.
Yeah. Next, we have the 2021 Matthew Feldman Award, and that award goes to Larry Bauer. Larry embodies an attitude of selflessness and willingness to assist in any and every community. Larry is a member of the Teaneck Rotary, founding president of the Teaneck Pride Advisory Board, member of the Teaneck Advisory Community Relations, member of the Cedar Lane Management Group, and importantly, president of the Chamber of Commerce. We thank Larry for his work in the community. Thank you, Larry.
I'm very, very happy to be here to give this to Larry. I think Larry's a great example of service to the community and the fact that when you give service, you meet a lot of new people and you make a lot of new friends. And Larry is one of those people for me. So thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done. From the Senate and General Assembly, a citation, commendations, and praise extended to Larry Bauer. As a citizen of character, determination, and enterprise whose efforts have brought pride and distinction to his community and state and have earned his recognition as the 2021 recipient of the Matthew Feldman Award by the citizenry of the 37th New Jersey Legislative District through their elected representatives, Senator Gordon Johnson, Assembly Members Shama Hader, and Ellen Park. Congratulations, Larry.
Additionally, Larry, we have the certification from the township, which extends heartfelt congratulations to you, Larry Bauer, for receiving the 2021 Matthew Feldman Award. And thank you so much for your dedication and service to the community. And I also want to thank you as being a member of the Community Relations and all the community relations representatives here for your hard work and trying to continue to build bridges in Teaneck. Thank you.
I'll add one last thing. So I've worked with Larry on the advisory board on community relations, and I am humbled to say that I consider myself a student of his. First time I met Larry was at one of the Chamber of Commerce's events. And then he said a sentence that caught my attention. He said, collaboration, not competition. And in my mind, I'm like, who's this socialist who's with me here in the building? But then later, as I got to know the gentleman, I realized how altruistic he is. These days, when we have our public service done in Zoom meetings, the easiest thing to do is you pretend to be there, but you're not. Larry is not that kind of person. When he works, he really works. And also, what I think you folks don't know about him is that he's multicultural too. Who knew that Larry lived in Peru for a period of time and that he's fluent in Spanish? So I think this plaque right here is an understatement. It should have a line underneath that says, El emblema de servir a otros humanos. How do you say that in English? Like the slogan or the badge of serving humanity. So when I grow up, I want to be like Larry Bauer.
Go ahead, Larry, you want to say a few words? No? Okay, all right.
Otherwise it'd be like cheap virtual. You know what my emails were. Right. And you want to get rid of it. Thank you.
Congratulations to our 2021 awardees. Next, we have our 2022 Youth Award, and that award goes to Rachel Gordon. Rachel Gordon is currently a senior at Teaneck High School and on the Teaneck High School basketball team. She has the highest number of career points with over 1,000 points. Rachel has also volunteered for different food banks, Never Alone Again domestic violence organization, and at Grace Lutheran Church. Rachel also worked on a food emergency campaign to assist the Haitian community. We thank Rachel for her work in our community. Thank you, Rachel. Rachel, you have 2 more awards. Come back. Come back.
Black Friday.
Rachel, the Senate and the General Assembly commend a citation and praise to you as a citizen of character, determination, and enterprise, and whose efforts have brought pride and distinction to her community and state, and have earned her recognition as the 2022 recipient of the Matthew Feldman Award by the citizenry of the 37th New Jersey Legislative District through their elected representatives, Senator Gordon Johnson, Assembly Members Shama Hader, and Ellen Park. Congratulations.
Yes, one more. One more, Rachel. That's because you've done such great things. You deserve multiple awards. So the Teaneck Township Council extends heartfelt congratulations to you, Rachel Gordon, for receiving the 2022 Matthew Feldman Youth Award. And we congratulate you when you're graduating from Teaneck High School. And where are you going next year? Rutgers University. Fabulous.
Okay, now we have our 2022 Matthew Feldman Award. And this award goes to Cheryl Miller Porter. Ms. Porter started the Teaneck Terpsichoreans in 1971 as an after-school program. This program was to make sure that children had a safe haven to keep students engaged off the streets and grow into a family. The love this program by students has been going strong for over 50 years. Ms. Porter has supported countless students during and after high school through encouraging words and motivating them to aim for the stars and reach beyond the moon. Cheryl Miller Porter has created an everlasting legacy right here in Teaneck. We also thank Ms. Porter for her dedication to the Teaneck High School track and the Teaneck High School flag twirlers. We thank you. We thank you, Ms. Porter, for your work in the community. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna do his award first. Okay. And then,
Cheryl, the Senate and General Assembly commends and gives you praise as a citizen of character, determination, and enterprise, whose efforts have brought pride and distinction to her community and state, and have earned her recognition as the 2022 recipient of the Matthew Feldman Award by the citizenry of the 37th New Jersey Legislative District through its elected representatives, Senator Gordon Johnson, Assembly Members Shama Hader, and Ellen Park. Congratulations, Cheryl.
An additional certification here from the Township Council members. We extend heartfelt congratulations to you, Cheryl Miller Porter, for receiving the 2022 Matthew Feldman Award, and again, signed by each of our council members. And I just have to add a personal note that, believe it or not, probably when she was like 2 years old, Cheryl Miller Porter was my dance instructor, and many of us that are here supporting her. And I just want to share that this was that she just recently celebrated 50 years and had her 50th dance celebration and program back in April. And it was just a phenomenal experience that brings so many community members together. And we thought it not robbery to make sure that she was be able to be acknowledged in this capacity through the Matthew Feldman Award. So you also have to receive your actual award. There you go.
We're coming to the end of the evening, I'm sure, but the only thing that I would like to impress upon this audience is the things that I've done here come from 3 Ds: determination, dedication, and devotion to this community. I love the fact that I was able to embark upon a community that supported me with diversity, talent, support. The community support has been overwhelming. Dr. Pruitt, members of the board, members of the town council, Dr. Pruitt, my biggest grandfather support, Dennis, Ron, board members, and everyone else here that always has been in my corner, because they know that my energy goes generally to the talent of the kids. Thank you, Dr. Bush and Christine. And everyone else. And I just want you to know, I told Dean Kaczynski as well. It is hard, I want to talk to as well, and there are others. Yes. And that gives me pleasure, that gives me love to know that this community has been on my side all these 50 years that I dedicated. Thank you.
Miss Miller Porter, I learned that if I don't speak up my ideas on time, I regret them later. And I was standing there, now I got an idea. I got a bunch of talented people here. If I were to put together a movie, it would be the easiest thing ever, okay? But I need your help. So if you look at Mr. Kaczynski right there, he's got the goatee of Al Pacino, right? And Mr. Kaczynski, say something like, Teaneck is the best town ever.
Teaneck is the best town ever.
There's a Godfather theme to that.
Yeah, you know, and if you notice something, he has the goatee of Al Pacino and the voice of Johnny Depp. So we could use him as a main actor. And then we got Alec Baldwin right here. Next to him is John Cena right there. If we want some screenplay, we have Councilman Pagan. He's a writer and a poet. We can do that. We got sports people. We got Councilwoman Organ and Deputy Mayor Schwartz. They can do the stunts. Or she could add the dancer and the narrator along with Councilman Kaplan. If you heard Dr. Dunleavy's joke about his trip to San Diego, we can do action/comedy.
And when are we doing this movie?
Well, I'm coming to that. If we want accessories, Dr. Pruitt has got them. I haven't seen a stick that big since the Lion King movie. Right, we got Warren Fields here with the camera, and then we got the music with the clerk's office. I don't know if I missed anybody. But
Dr. Bush over there.
right, but now Teaneck Day is coming up in September, right? And it would be great to have a dance contest, and everybody here is kind of not very good. So how about we put together a contest on Teaneck Day, and then we'll have team council, team school board, team police department. Would you be willing to help with that?
Absolutely.
So, and then I guess we can get some sponsors and some award that goes to charity.
I was going to ask how much was his salary?
Well, that's up for a bid. So we'll take a look at that. But again, thank you so much.
I'll ask the mayor. You have a budget for this?
I will be able to raise an enormous amount of money from people who want to pay for me not to dance.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you.
Thank you,
everybody for being
everyone.
here tonight.
You stand with me?
Thank you, everyone.
Take a picture. I'm gonna hit the
And
clock.
I'm gonna get yelled at, so Robin Angled with the piano, in addition to the music by the clerk's department.
And also for everyone's viewing, we have yet to hang it back up, but we do also have a plaque. There's also one in the back on the floor there because we just redid the walls. We need to redo it. We have a plaque of our Matthew Feldman Award winners going all the way back to the inception of the program. And I'm very happy to announce that our newest winners are included indeed on the plaque. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's a good use of metal. And I'm very happy to announce that right outside the council chambers, we have light refreshments for our residents, awardees, public members, council members to enjoy. We have cake, we have cookies, we have some coffee, there is water. We also have fruits and vegetables if sugar is not your fancy. We do have coffee, decaf and regular. I don't. You want to drink coffee? It's so hot in here. What? Yeah. No problem. Hey, we got the things. We got the things. I'm impressed too. I couldn't man. Oh man.
We'll recess for 5 minutes. Those who are going to stay, if you get something, please come back into chambers. 5 minutes. Thank you. I'm sorry? Pick a chair. Pick a chair. Okay, we're going to be starting in a minute. So if those of you who are not staying, if you could take your final pictures. All right, I gotta get home. Okay, we're gonna restart the meeting. So if you're gonna have any discussion, if you could please go outside your council chambers. Thank you.
I put a claim in with the credit card company.
If you could please take your conversations outside.
Close the door, Doug. Get Larry out.
Doug, if you can close the doors, please. All right. Folks, we need to move on with the meeting. Thank you. Okay. All right, the meeting's back in order. Work session items, miscellaneous, old business, new business.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to look for nominations for the council liaison to the planning board. My term is expiring on June 30th.
Do we have any nominations?
I'll nominate Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
In a second?
If you don't want to do it, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, if you don't want to do it.
Let's do roll call.
Was there a second?
Yes.
I forgot that Deputy Mayor Katz was on
Yeah.
for a second.
So that is Councilwoman Mommy Rice,
Nope, go ahead.
Councilman Began. Yes. Councilman Oregon. Councilman Kaplan.
Yes.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes.
Mayor Levy.
Yes.
See a resolution.
Any other new business? Communications?
Mr. Mayor, I received a couple of communications regarding the upcoming change at the GWB, eliminating the carpool lanes. I'd like the council to reiterate the letter we sent to our elected representatives and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to, in whatever legalese they're capable of, to do your damn jobs and do them quite a bit better than you're doing them now, so that we don't lose the carpool and add so many cars while people are trying to get into the city for work.
Is that your council listed item? Is that the same thing? Okay. So
Under correspondence?
send of course, okay, all right. So do we have to do anything, but did you leave that, was that in the packet? Did you put that in the packet? Was that in the packet? The letter?
The email, the correspondence wasn't, but I can forward that if you like.
Oh.
But really, it was just to get council, if we have 4 nodding
Okay.
heads, so we can have our attorney
Okay.
redraft the old
Any-
letter and send it to all of
Fine,
our.
we're good. So let's go with that. Committee reports by council liaisons?
Yes, Mr. Chair, Mr. Mayor, we had a planning board meeting this past week in which we sent some matters back to the council, which we'll read about in a few minutes. And we also had our Cedar Lane meeting in which I believe we discussed the matters about the CFO and he wired this year's budget. The Cedar Lane Management Committee thanks the council for passing their budget and more importantly for wiring the money. Thank you.
Any other committee reports from council liaisons? No, okay. Council listed items, are we good here? Councilman Kaplan, we're taken care of?
Yeah, I mean, we have another meeting in June. I'll list
Okay.
committee reports.
Okay. Moving on to township managers report.
Not a lot to cover, Mayor, but I'll go over the important items here. We had the community meeting for Bell Avenue drainage. We have a couple solutions in mind. We'll be moving forward with that. I think the residents were fairly pleased with the presentation and what our plans are for that area to improve drainage. COVID-19 update. As of June 10th, we have 10,361 cases. We did have another death, so we're at 145. There's no reports of hospitalizations due to COVID at Holy Name Hospital, which is good news. The energy aggregation update, we're going to be awarding the contract this evening to Gable Associates for energy consultant services tonight. And then on June 28th, we're going to have them come back and do a quick public presentation that outlines the process. There's going to be a plethora of educational components that's attached to the energy consultant so that everyone understands this process and that we are on the timeline to implement in November. There's going to be a resolution on tonight. There is a resolution on tonight that supports our LEAP grant application with the Borough of Leonia. And we stand to gain about $250,000, and those monies will be used for startup costs for the DPW facility there. We're going to be working with the engineer, the architect. We have to submit some preliminary applications to the DEP as well to get this project moving forward. But we do have the support of Leonia. They approved their resolution last night. The band shell demolition is going to take place in July. I reached out to Ray Turkin, a local photographer. He actually provided me with a CD that has professional pictures of the band shell and the markings on the band shell, the designs that were done, so we can preserve that, print them out, put them in frames, and archive them as well in the library so that.
Dean, there were a couple of members of PPRAB that talked about the history of the band shell that included some things I was unaware of, and that was that it was a center for some very prestigious jazz concerts where world famous jazz artists came. So I'm wondering whether or not we can possibly reach out to someone or somebody or put something out into the community. I'll ask the PPRAB members
Okay.
if they have any resources. My thought was that perhaps we could put next to the new band shell, some type of, enclosed or permanent
Sure.
historical thing there with pictures and the story of what it was. Because I know a lot of people have come to me. I don't know if others have had the same thing happen to them. They want something about the history.
Sure.
So I'll send them to you
Perfect.
and I'll get them.
And we
them
get
some.
Kunitz signed to design some sort of, I guess, little structure that we need to preserve
Yeah.
those memories. And of course, we want to make new memories as well. At the new
Absolutely.
facility that should be delivered probably at the beginning of August, I'm being told. The 2021 roadway resurfacing, milling and paving is going to commence the end of June. Most of the concrete work is done. I'm going to update, or engineering will update the schedule for these streets that are going to be milled and paved very shortly. But again, they're going to be starting that towards the end of June. But the majority of concrete work, which has to be done as the first phase of this, is basically done. The municipal building demolition, the basement, will be done by week's end, which is great news. I have some bad news to report. The Teaneck Park playground equipment delivery is again delayed. I've sent some strong messages to Little Tykes, who's the provider of this playground equipment. They're very well known in the industry. They sent us a formal apology notice, and they're attributing the delays due to COVID. Again, this is not something the town is at fault with. I've been pushing them. I have forwarded the information to Mr. Shadanian. If we do need to take legal action, we'll discuss it. But I can't tell the public of a delivery date because they have not provided it to me. They gave me a couple previous dates in the past, but those dates have come and gone. So I don't know when this will be delivered. So we'll keep the pressure on them. If we have to have our legal department get involved, we certainly will. The Phelps Park bathroom is almost done. They're doing the utility connections now. I'm told by the engineer that should be completed. Everything should be completed in about 2 weeks. Alfred Avenue Street Improvement, that's a big project. That's going to go out to bid this month, and we will have the entire stretch of Alfred Avenue done later this year. The Court Street Improvement bid documents are ready, and they're going to be advertised soon as well. We're going to need to change the ordinance, making travel one-way going east. So I'll probably prepare the ordinance the June 28th meeting or the first meeting in July. But that project will be done this year. The contract for the new library cooling tower, that's on the agenda tonight. DPW is working with an outside contractor. We have the flooding issues along Palisade Avenue. We're working with an outside contractor to clean the area on Palisade Avenue between Colonial Court and West Anglewood Avenue, and this should help to reduce the flooding that takes place in that area when we have substantial rainfall. I'm going to probably reach out to Congressman Gottheimer, see if he can provide us with some assistance to get CSX to pay for 50% of our costs. So I'm pretty confident we'll get that back, because some of the property we're cleaning belongs to, according to the tax maps, belongs to CSX. And we do have an outside contractor, Shamrock, helping us out, but I'm confident that once we clean up that area, that should help to improve any flooding on Palisade by Colonial Court and the entire stretch of Palisade Avenue all the way down to Court Street. We have to come up with a plan. This should help to improve some of the flooding north of Court Street, but we will have to also clean out that area by the school as well. Some of that is school property, some of that is CSX, and some of that is Teaneck. So there has to be a coordinated effort to get that cleaned up as well. I'm working with Frank Piazza to hold another affordable housing seminar. Spoke to him already. It's probably looking like we're going to do something right after Labor Day. He prefers doing something virtually. He has a go-to meeting platform that can hold 500 participants. So this will be a good opportunity for residents of Teaneck to become acclimated with the affordable housing process. I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Deputy Mayor Schwartz, nothing really will go online as far as affordable housing until a little bit later in the year.
Correct. We have quite a bit coming up, but no, but after the summer is totally fine.
The new health officer, I don't want to give that person's name yet, but she will be starting with us on September 1st. In the interim, Sue McVeigh, who is our acting health officer, she also serves Hackensack, will continue to serve Teaneck. And so that transition is going very well, but we will have our full-time health officer in place by September 1st. It's difficult finding certified, qualified candidates, and I think we found one that has some good experience and should be able to step in with her feet on the ground running. So I'm looking forward to that. Work on the new police 911 PSAP center. It continues. The dispatchers, we had to temporarily relocate the police dispatchers to another room at the police department so that work can be completed. We're looking at a completion date sometime during the summer. And again, that will bring 911 services back to Teaneck. DOT, we just got notified that DOT is going to start starting deck, slab, and substructure repairs to the State Street Bridge on June 20th. They'll also, they call it mud jack, the approach slab as well by State Street. I'm trying to find out from the engineer if that's going to require any closure of that State Street Bridge. I will certainly post and put information out, not only my office, but the police department in the event there are any temporary traffic closures. The Voti Park Pool, I put this information out today, is going to have, unfortunately, a delayed opening. A 4-inch water main line ruptured, and we're starting emergency repair work tomorrow. That's the good news. We have found a contractor plumber that can come in, do the work. So I'm hoping to get that line repaired and the pool up and running very quickly. So there should be a temporary delay. So end of report.
Okay. All right, Dean, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I know we're self-insured. Is that, are we, the parks also, do we have insurance for that pipe?
We can check with our GIF, but I don't think that will be covered, but we'll certainly check to make sure that's not something that's covered. We'll find out tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I also had a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Dean, I just had a question. I know that we've had some challenges with the pool, and is this a temporary fix, or is this something that's going to be permanent? Or is this something that we should still be looking at in terms of a long-term option for a swimming pool?
Now, great question. My plan is I wanted to get by this year and next year with the Voti Park pool. So in next year's capital budget, if you look at the 6-year plan, I put I think it was $3 million in there to cover a new facility there if that's what we decide to do. So if we were going to do that, we got to get by not only this summer, but next summer, and then we would start work for a new facility there probably September of 2023. We'd have to bond for the money, but I did put in the 6-year capital, I did put $3 million towards that project. So we repair this pipe, this 4-inch pipe, it should allow us to open this year, the pool, continue next year. And then again, we have to make that decision. We'll have to discuss that in greater detail next year's budget. And if that's the direction we want to go, we're going to allocate roughly $3 million to create a new facility there in Voti Park.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. Township Attorney's report. Thank you.
Mayor, real quickly before you go on. Down
Yeah.
here. Sorry. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our police department, our DPW, maintenance department over at our public schools, and all the churches that assist, and our American Legion that assist with our election. This was one of the most seamless elections we had logistically here at the town hall, at least since I've been here. We had all of our poll workers, all like almost 80 of them, maybe 70 of them that were here dropping off the supplies. We had everyone out by 9:40 p.m., which may sound late since election day officially ends at 8 p.m., but I promise you in Teaneck, that is a record. And it really could not have happened without all the seamless support from everyone here in the township. So it was just a job well done all around.
And Mayor, just a quick shout out to Doug. He organized getting the poll workers together. I think it was the first time it was ever done, and it was an opportunity for the poll workers to acclimate themselves with the responsibilities, meet and greet everyone. So again, I think it was a very successful night. Correct me if I'm wrong, about 30 plus poll workers.
About 30 people showed up, yeah,
All right, good.
which was way more than we had expected. And morale at the polls this year with all those poll workers who have been coming for so many years, it was a different level of hype with them, I swear. And all the people that were not at the meet and greet were extremely disappointed that they were not there. So it was definitely a good time for everyone involved. Happy
Great.
that we were doing it.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on, formal meeting items, public hearing and adoption of ordinances. Doug, if you could read the ordinances into the record.
Absolutely, Mayor. We have a few ordinances, second reading tonight. First up, we have ordinance number 16-2022, amending section 33-15 of Article 2 and section 33-29 of Article 5 of Chapter 33 of the Township Code respecting site triangles. We have ordinance number 17-2022, amending paragraph A5F of section 33-24 of Article 5 of Chapter 33 of the Township Code relating to limitations on side yard parking within the RS Residential Single Family Detached District. We have ordinance number 26-2022, amending section 36-11.2 of Division 1 of Article 2 of Chapter 36 entitled Traffic of the Township Code, adding restricted on-street parking spaces for the handicap at 549 Beverly Road. We have ordinance number 27-2022, amending ordinance number 11-2022, amending section 36-21 time limited parking to Division 3, limited parking in section 36-14.1 of Division 2, prohibited parking of Article 2 parking of Chapter 36 traffic of the Township Code respecting time limited parking on a portion of Sackville Street. Those are the four ordinances that we are seeing again, Mayor.
Thank you.
Motion to
Hold on. Does anyone here want to discuss any of the ordinances? All right. Councilman Kaplan?
motion to, or is it approve and then hearing? No, it's hearing first or?
Hearing's done.
No, the hearing's not done. No, we have to have a
Public
public
hearing.
hearing. I'm just waiting for you guys to catch up to the agenda. Okay. All right, we'll open the hearing now for just agenda items, just the ordinances that have been read into the record for second reading and adoption this evening. Those are ordinance numbers 16, 17, 26, and 27. Does the public have any comments? No, nothing on Zoom? All right, then we'll close the public hearing. And can I have a motion to adopt ordinances 16 through 27?
Motion
Make the
to
motion.
adopt- Motion to adopt ordinances 16, 17, 26, and 27 of 2022.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay.
On the motion, Mr. Mayor,
I'm sorry?
on the motion,
Deputy
Go
Mayor
ahead.
Schwartz had you beat by a second. I apologize, Deputy Mayor Katz.
yeah, just have a comment on the motion.
It's time. You have a comment on the motion?
Can I?
Go ahead.
I just want to compliment Councilmember Kaplan for two of these ordinances that were really a direct response for the quality of life of the residents of our town. And he pushed them forward to try to be as helpful as he could to these residents. That's it.
Okay,
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Katz.
thank you. Seeing no other comments?
Would you like a quick explainer of the ordinance?
No, no,
Okay.
no, no, no.
No.
Let's call the roll.
That was Councilwoman Rami Rice,
Yes.
Councilman McGowan. Yes. Councilwoman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz,
Yes.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes.
Yes, by all adopted, send it out to.
Now we will have a public hearing on Bergen County open space application for Phelps Park. improvements.
This is just for council's reference, public's reference. This is resolution 178 2022, I believe.
What?
Yes, it is. 178 2022. I could get you a page number, please hold.
All right, I'm gonna ask, well, let me ask legal counsel. We have a question up here with respect to potential need to recuse because of the proximity of the homes of two of the councilmen to the park.
Page 76.
Would that be an issue?
We're each a few feet. Yep, done.
Okay. All right, so let the record show that both Councilman Kaplan and Deputy Mayor Schwartz are recusing themselves.
I'll give you guys a reminder too at the consent agenda.
All right, public hearing on Bergen County open space for Phelps Park. Anybody on the Zoom? Nobody's on the Zoom? Okay, so we'll close the hearing. And if Doug, you can call the roll.
There's no roll call on
There's no
this.
roll
We'll
on this one? We
yeah,
just had to do the hearing?
Vote as you
Oh, I
wish at
thought
the
we were gonna do
consent
the other
agenda.
thing with this. Okay, sounds good.
Discussion, question?
Yes, go ahead.
Just in terms of, I think it's great that we're, submitting for funding for this particular park. Is there opportunity to apply for these type of open space grants for our other parks that we're also looking for improvements on? And then is that something that we're?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the information that the PPRAB and members of council put together in terms of the needs in the parks have been given to the manager. And I know in talking with the manager, he would like to try and start to get to a point once he gets the level up in all the parks of things that have to be fixed and done, that he wants to focus on one park a year to try and get everything done. So he'll be going through the park inventory and doing that.
We couldn't do that this year, Mayor, but the 6-year plan does outline one park a year. That includes updating our spray sprinkler systems, the more modernized ones, new playground equipment as well, poured in place surfaces, and hopefully new prefab bathrooms like the one that we just recently installed. So again, that runs $750,000 to $1 million to do that work. So I think doing one a year through our capital, I think the parks need it. We have to put more attention to our parks and recreation. And in the 6-year plan, it does have a different park every year.
Great, and just the opportunity to find alternate funding sources other than tax
Of course.
dollars is wonderful.
We're always working with Millennium, whether it's through open space or any other resources to offset some of the funding.
Great, thank you.
All right, moving on. At this point, we will open the meeting up to good and welfare and public input on any matters. As a reminder, you have 3 minutes. And what we are going to do is, as we did in the last meeting, is we will alternate between those individuals in council chambers and those who are on Zoom, for those who have raised their hands on Zoom. Okay? So we'll start here in council chambers. Dr. Henry Pruitt.
It's wonderful for me to be able to address this wonderful town. We have a problem in America. And people are scared to death with the schools, the religious institutions, the subways, the shopping centers are all at risk. I am suggesting to this council that any information that can allay the fears of the community come from the township manager.
Okay. Howard? Oh, I'm sorry, Howard. I do have to go back and forth. I apologize. My bad. It's late. Let's bring in a Zoom.
I see Celine Lewis's hand up. Hey, Celine, whenever you're ready, let me know and I'll start the clock on my end.
Yep, I'm ready. Hi, everyone.
Good to see you, Celine.
Hi, good to see everyone. Hello, Celine
Hi,
Lewis here.
Celine.
I just wanted to remind everyone that it's Juneteenth weekend, and we're very excited over here. I have my Juneteenth flag ready like I did last year. I just want to remind everyone also that at the library, that I will be there reading a story about Juneteenth for the little ones. And also, please do not forget, on this Saturday, June 18th at 8:45 in the morning, we'll be gathering together at Larch Avenue and North Street and walking down a silent walk to the enslaved burial grounds. That will take place again at 8:45 a.m. And then at Volte Park, we'll be raising a flag again, the Juneteenth flag, and also having a ceremony there. So I just wanted everyone to know that and be reminded of these events. And I'd like to add, for next year, I would like to also support and organize another Juneteenth weekend. I'm just super happy about Juneteenth. Everyone knows that. I'm happy to see that it's all over social media and different places, and that people have been reposting it and supporting it. And hopefully I get to see the council at some of the events this weekend. I'm just super excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Celine.
Okay, Howard.
Again, I come to a microphone and ask, is this okay? Good evening, council, administration, counselor, residents at home, and the meager remains of what was a very large audience of spectators live. The first hour and a half of this meeting was kind of phenomenal. It's what Teaneck's all about. We had a retirement, we had promotions, we had certificates given out. What a natural sequence of events. I mean, that's life. Things go on, they continue. We have some people replacing other people have done their duty, and it's a public recognition of what they've done, as well as a public statement of gratitude for what they've done. And it's good to see that at the beginning of a meeting. Regarding the vote, the election that was just held, I heard people talking about the poll workers and this and that. I thought they said poll dancers, so I went to my district to vote. I saw Doug there, as a matter of fact, and he was on the ball. Things were smooth. The computer hookup for tracking was new to me. It seemed seamless. Now, it wasn't a very large turnout for election because it was a very off election. So in that respect, that gave people a good situation to get used to for poll workers. I think we'll be very prepared for the next elections as they become major elections, and things are good in Teaneck right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person on Zoom.
Bringing in Chuck Powers. Just give me 1 minute as I get the timer up here. Let me know whenever you're ready. I'll start your timer, sir.
I'd just like to pick up on the question that Council Member Rice was asking about, how we're going to move to make sure that the funding for the rest of the parks proceeds as quickly as possible. And of course, that is always going to be constrained financially. I think it's important to remember that this township, because our planning board has never been able to complete its open space recreation plan, and in the course of it also updated its recreation open space inventory, does not have access to the largest source of recreation open space money that this town could otherwise be eligible for. And it's too bad that that has happened, except for the sportsplex, where we both by a grant and by a loan were able to get a lot from Green Acres, $750,000 in total. We haven't had anything in this town from Green Acres since 1990. That makes no sense. Our neighbors all around us yearly do very well with Green Acres funding for both recreation and open space activities. And we need our planning board to go ahead and take action on the open space recreation plan and complete our work on the recreation open space inventory so we become eligible again to participate actively and successfully with that major source of money for the things that I think we all know we need to do on both recreation and open space. Thank you very much.
Is that all, Dr. Powers?
That's it.
That's it.
All right. Okay. Alan?
Alan Sohn, Teaneck resident. Earlier this evening, Councilwoman Romney Rice congratulated the TVAC youth and remarked on all of the remarkable things that could be accomplished when Teaneck is represented in all of its diversity. Resolutions 166 and 167 appoint members to the Board of Adjustment and the Planning Board. With these appointments, there will not be a single woman serving on either board who has been appointed by this council as a whole as a full voting member. This council has persistently refused to have the membership of these pivotal land use boards match the demographics of our township, particularly among the 50% of residents who are women and the more than 1 in 4 who are African American. In 2012, this council had a vacancy on the planning board for a seat that had been vacated by Mark Schwartz and shamelessly skipped over James Kinlock, a thoroughly qualified African American architect who had served faithfully and attended regularly as an alternate for 4.5 years. The individual who was appointed, jumping over Mr. Kinlock, had no comparable experience or qualifications. This council foisted on us none other than Keith Kaplan. I regret never having been able to reappoint Mr. Kinlock when I had the opportunity to do so. This council has the opportunity tonight to amend these resolutions and appoint women and others who are vastly underrepresented. There is no legal requirement whatsoever, as Mr. Kaplan can confirm, to bump alternates up by 1 slot at a time. The one step at a time tradition has the rather unfortunate impact of locking in the disturbing demographic imbalance that this council has created. Tonight, you have a small chance to atone for that original sin. Look through the boards and ask yourselves who could be appointed to rectify this shameless imbalance between the demographics of our land use boards and the actual population of Teaneck. We, the voters, deserve blame for not electing women to the Township Council. But the persistent failure to pass resolutions appointing women to full voting seats on our land use boards is a failure that sits squarely in the lap of this council and is a slap in the face to all residents, men and women. If only, as Councilwoman Romney Rice remarked, our land use boards, our statutory boards, our council were representative of the full diversity of our township. This November 8th, every Teaneck resident should remember who has been systematically excluded and work to ensure that Mr. Katz and Mr. Kaplan no longer have a role on this council or in the process of appointing members to the land use boards. It's bad enough to have one Keith Kaplan. Tonight, we have 2, 1 in person and 1 on Zoom. The correct number, I submit, is 0. Thank you very much.
We have on Zoom? Nobody's on Zoom? Okay.
Hi.
In 1875, the Supreme
Can we
Court,
have your name and town, please?
Hillary Goldberg. Sorry.
From?
No, Teaneck. Born and raised. Am I good? Sorry. I'm holding. Good. In 1875, the Supreme Court held in Minor versus Happersett that while women are no less citizens than men, citizen does not confer the right to vote, and therefore state laws barring women from voting are constitutionally valid. 45 years later, Congress codified the women's right to vote with the passage and ratification of the 19th Amendment to the US Constitution in 1920. Since then, women have served in both houses of Congress and have been appointed to the United States Supreme Court. While the nation's highest elected office has only been occupied by men, it was only 1 year ago that Kamala Harris broke the glass ceiling as she was sworn in as the first female vice president. When Teaneck became an independent township in 1895, its female residents did not have the right to vote. Teaneck's government went from a committee of 3 to a council of 5, and finally the 7 seats we have today. The boards and commissions of Teaneck are responsible for making decisions that impact the day-to-day life of every Teaneck resident. The Planning Board, the Board of Adjustment, the Environmental Commission, the Historic Preservation Commission are statutory boards mandated by the state of New Jersey, and the appointments to those boards are done by the council. Between these boards, there were 39 members and only 7 of them are women. On the Planning Board and Board of Adjustment, none of them are full voting members. Women make up more than 50% of the township's population, but occupy less than 20% of the seats on these decision-making boards. Why so few? In a world that is still very much male-dominated, the female perspective is increasingly important. Fairness and balanced perspective is critical to ensuring that everyone's voices are heard. This does not mean that someone should be elected or appointed to a position simply by virtue of being a woman. She must also exhibit the virtues of leadership. If someone shows that they have the capabilities to lead, they should do so not being restricted by their gender. Having women in leadership roles not only serve to provide the qualities they can bring to the table, but to inspire future women to follow, to welcome in the next generation of women leadership. Local decisions making is stronger when everyone is involved, and we are better for it. When the Teaneck Township Council is elected in November, the members of the new council will have the opportunity to choose which residents will be given the chance to serve on the boards and commissions. In a township with more than 40,000 residents, more than 30,000 above the voting age, there are more than 15,000 women who could be serving on land use boards, statutory boards, or council. It shouldn't be too hard to find a few dozen worthy women among them. Thank you.
Okay, anyone on Zoom?
I got Cheryl Hall.
Okay.
Cheryl Hall, whenever you're ready. Ooh, whenever you're ready, just give me a shout.
There she is. She's done.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, that looks like a very nice air conditioner next to you.
Hot flashes, what can I say? Hi, I'm Cheryl I almost said the wrong intro. Cheryl, lifelong resident from Teaneck, Cheryl Hall. Can I start?
Yeah, you're good.
Go ahead.
Yes. Okay, I just wanted to make a few comments. I wanted to thank everyone on the council and also Dean working with me to have a community meeting for the residents in my area regarding 1425 development, to have some questions answered. That will be on June 27th, a Monday at the Rhoda Center, and hopefully good information from good sources will come out. I also wanted to to thank the township for the pride flag raising. And I wanted to make a suggestion that maybe in future years, we might join forces with other towns, like maybe Leonia, Englewood, Hackensack, and have a tri-town parade. You know, just to make a little bit more in terms of the festivities, especially if other towns are doing similar things on the same day. And finally, I wanted to say something that is close to my heart here that I'm sure no one wants to hear, but election year is coming, November is coming, and I'm very concerned about cyberbullying that adults do, thank you, that adults do online. We wonder where children get it from. Why are they so mean? They get it from their parents. They get it from us adults because we're teaching. It would be nice to see people, you know, regardless of what, take the high road. You do get respect from your constituents that way. So please think about what you say online and how you treat people, especially the elderly, in frustration. And hopefully not to give into the temptation of going low. And I say that for even my friends that are running that are not on this dais. But thank you everyone for tonight as well. That was a good celebration of Teaneck community. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I got David Kozar. I think I'm pronouncing his last name wrong. I'm bringing him in now. So David, I am sorry if I mispronounced your name. I invite you to correct me.
Good evening, David Koshar, Englewood resident, managing partner for Teaneck Business Galaxy Express NJ LLC. Spoke with you all a couple of weeks ago. Just wanted to follow up this meeting to let the council know that we have been in talks, my partner Sebastian Castillo and I, with 205 Cedar Lane. We've had some productive conversations with the landlords and are close to hopefully being able to potentially use 205 Cedar Lane for our dispensary. The only thing really holding us up is an acknowledgement or some sort of clear path from the council that would actually be an okay area to zone our business in. We do know that Alfred Avenue is currently the only zoned area and wanted to just continue to follow up as we have had productive conversations with 205 Cedar Lane. And we think it would be an excellent location based on the size and just overall structure of the building. So we'd like to pursue that conversation further and intend to send an email tomorrow, later this week to continue that conversation. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? No?
I see what it is.
Okay, we'll close public hearing. And I will now ask for council comments. Again, please keep them to 3 minutes. I'll flip a coin in my head. Now that we're all here, and I'll start on my right. Councilman Rice.
Thank you, Mayor. This being my first time in council chambers, I first want to say, Dean, how great the place looks. And then I'm really excited to see Lizette's picture there. So I just wanted to make mention of our new facility. Good and welfare, thank you, Dr. Pruitt, for making mention of the importance of a single source of information to be disseminated. And to your point of safety, I think it's really important. I did try to convey that at last meeting, to inquire and request that the township manager be able to be at least the first point of dissemination of information, and council members, their free speech, are free to reiterate that information. But I think our community deserves to know that they can have their information received and disseminated from a single source that they trust. Celine Lewis, thank you so much for reminding everyone about our Juneteenth celebration this Saturday. And now that Juneteenth is a national holiday, I hope that many residents will come out and enjoy the commemoration and learn more about our rich history, especially here in Bergen County, because Texas wasn't the only place that held on to slavery way after emancipation. Bergen County has its own rich history of that. Alan and Hillary, I appreciate your notation and pointing out the need to appoint representation of our rich, diverse community. The fact that we only have 7 women out of 39% potential positions is really not showing that we are caught up with the 21st century, much less here in 2022. And it's not for lack of, as I mentioned this once before, for applications. I have a list of recent applicants, and there's certainly a number of women, quite a number of diverse names that are been listed. But unfortunately, it appears that they are overlooked. Even today, we had an interview of a candidate that was put forth. But none of the other people that were also submitting their names were recommended for an interview. Again, pressing the fact that we are not diverse in our applications. This was just one and the same. Again, those points of diversity in our rich community are well taken. I'd like to find out more about what we're doing in terms of, there was a dispensary request. I don't believe that the committee has come back with any information other than Alfred Avenue, that we're looking at other various locations. So I would be interested in hearing on what the committee has to report, any current information on where we are with dispensaries. That concludes my comments. I yield the balance of my time.
Councilmember Pagan.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to remind residents that today is Flag Day, which is where we celebrate the day in 1777 when the United States approved the design for our first flag. And while its design has changed several times over the years, the American flag remains a beautiful symbol of freedom, justice, and inspiration for us all. Also, I read an article in the Star Ledger this morning that was alarming because it said that the benefits from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, is going to expire in July if our federal and state representatives don't work together soon to extend them. And if those benefits are not re-upped soon, that will hurt thousands of working families in Teaneck who are already struggling with soaring food prices. So I am going to reach out to our congressional representative and our state legislative delegation tomorrow to ask for help on this. Also, Teaneck will be observing Juneteenth this upcoming Saturday morning with a march to the burial grounds on Pole Under Walk, and with the flag raising in the afternoon at Voti Park. And I encourage all of our residents to please feel free to join us. Moreover, Desiree Ramos-Reiner is a Latina who is a full member of the planning board, for those who have forgotten that fact. And lastly, I'd like to congratulate all of the seniors at Teaneck High School who are graduating this upcoming Thursday. We wish you all the very best in all of your future endeavors. And that is my time, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm a big fan of Teaneck's history, and we do have a very rich and diverse history. And I really want to appreciate Celine's comments about Juneteenth, because some of the things that went on that created the code we have today still affect people. Still affect many people in this town. And they're not easy to find out, because at the time people created a lot of these codes, they didn't say, we don't want Jews in town. They didn't say, we don't want Blacks in town. They used euphemisms. They hid the language. They couched it a bit. And there was one I had found just a little while ago, and we removed it from the code, about how conditional use criteria meet certain uses. And it was done in order to prevent people from moving in. There's another one that I found fairly recently that defined a family. And I was, still struggling to figure out why they were working so hard to define a family. And I reached out to the wife of the deputy mayor in the 60s, and I asked her what was going on with this one. And she said there were rumors going around about Blacks moving in and, shoving people into houses, and they wanted to make sure that they didn't have non-related people living in single family zoning. We still have that definition in our code. We got a ways to go. I hadn't heard my name mentioned from the podium a lot. I'm guessing, somebody's focused on me, but they didn't mention, part of what I do here. One of the first things I did was try to get rid of bad laws that we have, try to get rid of unintended consequences from laws. You're going to hear fairly soon about trigger laws, laws that people had on the books that they forgot about, laws banning abortion, laws doing that all of a sudden might come back and be enforceable. I started getting rid of those on day one, and I haven't stopped. So we need to focus on the core of what we do as a municipality. We need to remember our history, and we need to honor the people that came before us, know what they have done, and continue the work and the legacy that makes Teaneck a good place, because we have had good and we have had bad, but we have always had an attempt to try to be better. So if you want to come to the podium and talk about what I do, at least have it be a full complement of what I try to do here. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Kaplan. Councilmember Organ.
I wanted to thank Ms. Lewis. I wanted to do it at the last meeting, but forgot. For changing the time of the Juneteenth flag raising to noon so that we can walk over there and attend. I can't tell you how much that means to me, and I look forward to attending. To Mr. Rose, I couldn't agree with you more. Tonight was what Teaneck's all about, and I loved every minute of it. I think I love the opportunity to thank the people that work for us, especially the ones that put their lives on the line. But also the Advisory Board on Community Relations did a stellar job with all of their nominees tonight. And we should appreciate each of them. I wanted to speak to the junior members of TVAC at the time, just to let everybody know that these are mostly under 18-year-olds who in their junior years of high school join and spend 6 months driving 2 nights a week, 4 hours a night to the training center in Paramus. It's not just them, it's their parents that have to take them and pick them up. The tests are unforgiving. A lot of people don't pass. A lot of people don't make it. And at the same time, they ride a shift, they train on Sundays, and they are faced with things that many people are not able to handle. They're coached by adults who care for them very deeply. They make what Javon said was 100% right. They make friends from all over the community, and they really are the best of what this town has, and they should be supported for everything they do. I normally don't speak to Mr. Sohn. I don't answer him, but tonight I have to, because when I was an applicant to the planning board and there were only 2 other women there and no white women and no Jewish women, he voted against me when he was on council. So it's politics. You know, he said, whatever, it doesn't matter. I've moved on. But, you know, we need to take things from the source from which they come. Tonight, we are appointing, or we're voting on, a new female alternate to the Board of Adjustment, Letitia, who I met with, and I look forward to her working for the township. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes, thank you very much. Very excited tonight that Dr. Pruitt's here. Dr. Pruitt, it's good to see you, especially good to see you because while Dr. Pruitt was on council, one of the many items that he initiated a informal policy, and we'll have the exact meeting that this was done, and maybe by the next meeting, was when we appoint new members to our planning board and Board of Adjustment, we bring them up from the bottom. So if a ninth person, if the ninth person becomes the eighth, the 7th, upwards, and a new person becomes 9. That was Dr. Pruitt's request. And for several years thereafter, until this day, that is what we did. And that's why Letitia Williams, who is our newest member, is joining as an alternate, because she is the one at the bottom. Jennifer Princeton, a young lady, is right before her. She's number 3. Atif Rehman, a Muslim member of our town, is a regular member moving up, and he is rejoining us. And Zev Green, a former ambulance corps member, is being reappointed as well. Onto the planning board, and again, this is a resolution to appoint with subject to vote. We have Darrell Green, who is alternate number 1, moving up because he was someone else joined prior, and Yit Stern, our former deputy mayor. Quite a diverse group. Also tonight will be reappointed to the C-Lane Management Group pending vote. Karen Caricchio, Alan Heinlein, and Brenda Sutcliffe. The names are just listed, by the way, happen to be, I think, almost 7 females there alone. Our library board, 5 out of 9 are female. Historic preservation, 4 out of 7 are female. Chamber, 5 out of 11. Cedar Lane, 4 out of 6. The ABCR, 6 out of 10 females. Parks Playgrounds, about 30% female. So I really don't know how we can say it, the 7 females out of 70 or whatever the number was, or 39. It's just falsely, just false. So I look forward to everyone's support on the boards that I serve to liaison to, a very diverse group of people, all who are being reappointed or are hoping to be reappointed and have served the town with great their time, their respect, and their knowledge. I look forward to seeing them back on our boards. Thank you for your support of this.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Deputy Mayor Katz, I think you said you did not have anything to say. Am I correct? Okay.
Nope.
Okay, terrific. All right, and I'll be brief. Dr. Brewitt, I think we're all worried. As you know, where we are, where Teaneck lives, we are a target for many, many things. And we've talked about it when you were on council, and I've talked about it since I've been in council and since as mayor. Dean and I are meeting with the head of the Board of Education and the new superintendent when she comes in soon in July to talk about school safety, to see what we can do as a township to help them, to harden the sites. There's no way you're going to totally stop people, but you can make it very, very uninviting for people to pick Teaneck as a place to do their bad deeds. We're also going to continually talk with our religious leaders to try and make sure that we too are in the same boat in terms of hardening churches and places of worship, so they too make it very difficult for people to look at it as a place to do bad things. Anything else that anybody can think of, I'm certainly open to it, because I want Teaneck to be as safe as it possibly can. And frankly, with everything that's gone on since I've been on council, it's worried me sick that, but for the grace of God, Teaneck has not been in the news. So I appreciate your comments, and those are the things that we're doing right now, and I'm sure there'll be more coming out of it. Cheryl Hall, I like your idea about getting together with other towns. I think that's the spirit in which Pride has been formed, and I will bring that back to our advisory board. I don't think they'll have any issue with it. And we can start to reach out to Leonia. In fact, I'm going to be meeting with the mayor and within the next 2 weeks, and I can certainly bring it up with them then, that we can start the process hopefully for next year, maybe with them or maybe with other towns. So I thank you. I thank you for that good idea. And finally, in terms of women on the planning board, as per ordinance, I reappointed Desiree Reiner to the planning board, the first female Latino planning board member, and she has been reappointed for another term. So you can add that to the list of people who are on those boards. So. And I think that's all I got.
And
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, let's not forget, these boards are public and you can watch them, and you could actually see the diversity in action.
Yes, you can. Oh my God, I almost went to 3 minutes. That's got to be first. Okay. All right, moving on. Consent agenda. Can you read the bill list, please?
Absolutely, Mayor. Absolutely, Mayor. We have our consent agenda this evening, which consists of 2 sets of minutes, resolutions 166 through 182-2022, and the bill list in the amount of $10,723,120.43.
So moved, Schwartz.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull a few items.
Sorry,
I'd like to pull a few items.
go ahead.
Item number 1, resolution 166, 167, Also, 174.
166, 170, 167, and 174.
166, 167, and 174.
174. Okay,
174, that was right.
Correct.
all right. So can, well, gonna do that now, Doug. Okay. So I want to hear a motion to move raffles, minutes, resolutions 168, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, and 82. Do I have a second? Call the roll.
Councilwoman Rami Rice,
Yes, with an abstention on the bills list?
Councilman McGahn. Councilman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan.
Yes.
With
Dep-
recusing and said 178.
Everybody wants to run everything tonight.
Use that one or not?
I don't think it's necessary to the extent it
That's
makes
fine.
things go easier. I will offer a soft recusal, but I don't think there's any need for it.
Soft recusal.
Yes on all except a hard recusal on one, like a medium on 178. It's soft medium.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes, on all but with a abstention on the bill list. Uh-huh.
And is that something else, Deputy Mayor Katz?
No, that's it.
No, you good?
No, that's okay.
Just the bill list?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes.
Yes on all, except for the 3 pulled from Councilman Rami Rice.
Okay, so we'll move back now to resolution 166, 2022, appointing members of the Board of Adjustment. Councilmember Rice.
Yeah, I did ask that to be pulled because, on many occasions, I've taken the opportunity to request I know we have written here our process reappointment of the class 4 and alternate members 1 of the planning board. I still wish this council would really take a concerted effort to ensure that our statutory boards in particular are more reflective of our community. I know that we did have an opportunity to interview a member again earlier today. His application was received a day prior to another person and no request or opportunity was given for an interview. So I understand that he was reached out to by a council member to submit, but I would just like that there would be a greater fair and open process on how we invite people to be a part of these boards. And I do think that we could do a better job of ensuring that they are reflective of this community. We have board members, even ones that we're reappointing today. Mr. Yit Stern, who's been on this board for how many years? I'm sure you guys know, having all served previously on the planning board. But I think that there comes a time when we really should seek to not just simply return these positions and open it up to a broader perspective of our community.
Is there something specific about Mr. Stern's tenure that you have an issue with?
I make mention of it just simply because of the longevity. I have no issue or concern with him as an individual. Don't really know him as an individual. It's the longevity of the term.
No, I was asking about his votes.
My point is the longevity, meaning that he has been on there for a very long time, which does not give other community members who may have an interest any given opportunity to do so and to serve in these capacities. So I'm not supporting his reappointment.
I just want to pay we forgot to mention that we have our long-term former planning board member, Howard Rose, here tonight.
Who
Just
actually
wanted
got
to
kicked
thank
off the
Howard.
planning board, right, Howard? They got kicked you
I'm
off.
sorry, Howard wasn't reappointed for the exact reason you just mentioned.
Oh, it was
I'm
okay to
just,
get
that's
rid
what
of,
you
it was
said.
okay to get rid of Howard, but we're keeping Yitz.
No, actually,
What's-
Howard served longer than Yitz, but that's.
Okay, Howard was dismissed without even a question.
Howard and I have met and discussed that in detail. I was actually just forgetting that we paid heed to him being here, respect him being here, but we kind of change the rules every time we go. It's like
We
Dr.
certainly do,
Pruitt,
don't
Dr.
we?
Pruitt said, bump everyone from the bottom. And he actually made that comment June 16th, 2020, about how the subject of alternatives on the statutory board and suggested to handle those differently. But now that we don't like the way those people are on the bottom going up, we want to change it.
I didn't
So
say anything about that. My question was longevity, and you brought up the point that Howard Rose was indeed kicked off because of he served too long.
Well,
no one gets kicked off.
Sorry, Howard, not reappointed.
No one gets
Hold
kicked
on.
off.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead.
I think it's important, at least for the benefit of the public, to understand why a planning board member or a board of adjustment member should or should not be chosen for the board. And the single criteria for correctly picking someone for a board is who you think will do the best job for the community when they join that board. And that has been the criteria that council typically uses when someone is in the majority. It is typically what they abandon when they are not, but it remains true no matter what. And at the end of the day, we should pick people for our boards, regardless of anything else that wants to be thrown one way or another, that represent the community well and do good work for the community. And if anyone thinks that Yit Stern doesn't fit that criteria, I would challenge them to, speak to the actual work that he has done on behalf of this community on the planning board. Longevity is not a curse. It is not a virtue. It is merely who is good for a position when a position is being voted for. And I think that's sometimes lost in the shuffle. Thank you.
Okay. I think what behooves us all as council, members of council and the public is to have that turnover, you have to have candidates. And the call for candidates occurs the same time every year. The terms of office are up on the website. And we get a very, very small, if any, pool of individuals to even be considered. So many times on these kinds of boards, and understand that these boards, just like council, these boards are places of, back and forth with people, and they may not be the most comfortable places in the world to serve the town. So we have to go with what is brought before us and what we can find in the community. And we do it every year at the same time. And so year after year, we have the same conversation about not turning people over, yet we are still looking for candidates. All right. I heard your story about one candidate who was in there before somebody else and so on and so forth. Well, it was determined the person had conflict of interest because they can't be on the planning board. So it goes to us as a community to put the people up there for the council to consider. Otherwise, you're going to have to run the planning board and run the board of adjustment. And so that's what we're left with. So you want to see more candidates? Let's see more candidates, but can't pull names out of the air. Any other comments? Okay, let's call for a vote on 166.
I apologize to interrupt. Councilwoman, you also pulled 178, or 174 rather.
Yes,
67 and
174 was just really a general question about liquor license, because this is Teaneck Omni Catering. So I often ask these questions in terms of whether it was Care One facility. I'm like, oh, why do they need a liquor license? But I understand that once you obtain it, you try to retain it. But I was just curious, how do residents go about knowing when liquor licenses are available? Do any of these ever expire, or do they just continuously get churned over? Even if the facility, even if the Care One was a former catering, but they still maintain their license?
That is a fantastic question. Thankfully, I do not have a 3-minute limit on answering. But yeah, I'm just kidding. So in Care One specifically, I believe we approved the transfer recently, Councilwoman. I'm sorry. I believe we recently approved the transfer for them to send it to some another group in town that purchase from them. However, liquor licenses every year expire. As we've mentioned in the past, there are no more available slots for retail or distribution licenses within the township. We are exceeding our state limit. This is so because we had our count in before that limit was imposed. So naturally, there are plenty of folks vying for a liquor license in the township of Teaneck. Typically, when people are looking for that, like unless we become a de facto owner of a liquor license, because there are instances where that happens in municipalities in New Jersey because someone let their license lapse. No one took ownership of it. Now the township is the owner of that liquor license, in which case we do an auction of that liquor license, which would be cool because we'd make a pretty penny on it. But that's likely not going to happen. Typically what occurs is people reach out to our office far and wide. It could be residents, could be people who are not residents, inquiring if there's any liquor licenses available. What we do at that point is we give the publicly available list to that inquirer, and they can take it upon themselves to then reach out to those owners, because it really is a private business transaction. We're kind of hands off from it.
So is that what happened with Mocha Blue as to how they obtained the liquor license?
I can't remember who they got it from, but I would imagine so, yes. I can't remember off the top who they got it from. I apologize. But I would
Mr.
imagine, yes, it was something that they worked out. We only get involved when it's time for municipal approval.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Deputy Mayor Katz.
I'd like to move 166 and 167 and 174 for adoption.
It's been moved and seconded.
Councilman Ramirez.
Yes.
Councilman
I'm sorry.
McGowan.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That
it's
was
okay.
yes on 174, but no on 166 and 167.
Sorry. Councilman McGowan. Councilman Morgan. Councilman McCabe.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes.
All adopted.
Okay, introduction of ordinances. Doug, please read in the title.
The ordinance we are introducing for the first time this evening is ordinance number 24-2022, amending Division 8 municipal parking lots of Article 2 parking of Chapter 36 traffic of the Township Code to provide relaxation of the mobile telephone access parking zone restrictions at the Phelps Park Municipal Parking Lot.
I would like to move this for adoption and then kill it. Yep. Yes, we are going to not just table it, but we are going to formally remove this.
And motion to delete those words never appear again.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's unclear why this came on our agenda again. This was tabled at the last meeting and apparently brought back at the
It's not
next
even-
one
it's not
without
even labeled.
someone explicitly requesting
It's
it.
not labeled.
Unless there's anybody that's asking for this, I'd like to have it permanently deleted from our packet by whatever mechanism is available for us to do so.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Second.
All right, so it's been moved to.
I apologize about the miscommunication. I
Okay.
asked if we wanted to see it at the next meeting and I must have misheard. I apologize.
Okay,
We can
Understood.
gladly kill it. That's end
Motion
its
to
life.
adjourn.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I'm not listening.
Stay cool, everybody.